So, can you start? Firstly, let's do the welcome. Can I start sharing my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So today's session is session 4, which is negotiation, right? And Val tried to play the music for us. I think technology is failing us today, Val. But in any case, welcome. We wanted to welcome you guys with the very, inspiring, activating music, but technology failed us. In any case, we can move to the next slide. The next slide will be our prayer. May I please have just one mentee to volunteer to do the G4G prayer for us, please? Anyone? Hello? Okay, can I choose one? Because no one wants to go. Rodina? Hello?
Is it a specific prayer? Oh, hello.
Yes.
Is it a specific?
The prayer on the screen, my dear. Can you see my screen?
Okay, I can see it. Let me do it. I am my sister's keeper.
Yes,
Is it the
just
one?
say it out loud with lots of energy. You can go ahead.
Okay, I am my sister's keeper. I will build my sister up. And I am my sister's keeper. I will build my sister up, encourage her, empower her, and pray for her. I have no reason to talk about her. Let her tear her down, be jealous of her, or to compete with her. I am going to stand behind her and help push her into her destination. Pretty woman, pray.
Thank you, Rodina. Okay, and then next is our icebreaker. The icebreaker I decided to come up with today is, if you could have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what will that be? Well, from my side, if I could have any unlimited supply, it will be love. Because with love, we can overcome and conquer anything, and it covers all. It unites families, it unites friends, it unites people who don't know each other. So for me, if I could have an unlimited supply of one thing, that will be love for me, because everything else will come underneath that. Anyone else? Any of the mentees? Melita, what would that be? Hello, Melita.
Girls, we've got 3 sessions left. It's time to get going and to participate. Let's see some videos, please, so we can see some faces.
Yeah. Zinhle, do you want to go? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Zinhle. Nice to see you.
So if I would have an unlimited supply of something, it'd definitely be understanding, you know? I'd like to have an unlimited amount of understanding in life, just to see other people's perspectives and where they come from, just to understand what they're feeling or what they're going through. Because sometimes it's very hard to understand other people unless you're in their shoes. So what I'd like is just to understand, to feel, to sympathize with others.
Great.
Beautiful.
Okay, Zanele, I hear you clapping. Come. What would it be, Zanele?
Okay, if from my side, it would probably be happiness, because a lot of people struggle a lot with being happy with what they have or who they are. Because then again, we aspire to be someone else, or we admire to be other people when we're not happy with who we are or what we have. So if I could have unlimited something in my life, it would be happiness. Just being happy for myself and being happy for people around me without admiring or, wanting to be them. Being happy for myself. Yeah.
Great. Anyone else? Lesego, Priska?
Yes, ma'am. I'd say humility, because I feel like nowadays we people don't have humility. We tend to forget that another person is a human. For example, like the racial issues that we're experiencing now in the country. For example, the farm murders that is happening. Everyone is just blaming each other, and we forget that we are all humans and that we're supposed to be supporting each other instead of like putting each other down. Yeah. So I feel like we should have humility. Yeah, that's my take.
Great. Blessing? Hello, Blessing? Blessing, yes. What would it be?
Okay, I want to be content with what I have.
You're breaking that, Blessing. Can you change your position, my dear?
I have and basically not content with what I have.
Okay. Melita, talk to us. Can't hear you. Okay, Melita seems to be having a problem. You can't hear what she's saying. Bianca? Hello, Bianca, are you here?
Hi.
Yes.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, it says if you have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Unlimited. Respect.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Love.
Okay.
I really don't have a reason.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Shalati? Okay, anyone who wants to say it before we can move on to the next item? Does anyone have anything to share? Mentors?
Yes, I do have something.
Okay, Ravelina, yes, you can go ahead.
Favor.
If I would have one thing, would be time. If I could have unlimited time, I think that will work in my favor. And
Okay.
everyone's.
Okay, I can add on.
Okay, quickly.
For me, it will be forgiveness. I think all of us as human beings, we have gone through a lot. We have been hurt. But if I can just learn to forgive and forget about the past, I will be the happiest person in this planet. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Next on, we move on to the next item. Just to remind you guys, the last 3 sessions we had was, we had building trust as session 1, we had courageous leadership, we had art of communication. So the next session today is negotiation. These are all leading to all our 6 sessions. So I'm going to ask Asnath to just do a quick recap for us for 5 minutes of the past 3 sessions that we had. Asnath, over to you. Hi, Asnath.
You're on mute, Asnath.
Hello? Okay, is there anyone of the mentors, or should I go ahead with the recap then? All right, so we started with talking about building trust on session 1. And
Ntombi, what happened? Asnath, can you not, is your mic not working?
okay, I don't know what happened there. All right, so session 1 was on building trust. We spoke about how the importance of building trust within your community and amongst your peers and amongst your friends. Is Asnath wanting to say something?
No, I'm back. Technology today. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You can continue then. I was just talking about the recap. I was just on building trust, so you can.
Okay, all right. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. My apologies, really. I could hear you, but I couldn't see the screen. All right. Good evening, everyone. And yes, I would like to welcome you all again, and long time without seeing each other. So just to go back to what Ntombi was saying, we are now in our 4th session. And as we mentioned when we first started, that you will see that all the sessions are building up on top of one another. So they're following each other according to how we actually want to see the outcome at the end of the day. But the first one really was just to build trust. You will all remember that's where we all introduced ourselves to one another, and we all, besides introducing each other to one another, it was about trust, building trust. So building trust is about being able to communicate with the next person without feeling like you'll be judged, without feeling like whatever you're telling them will be shared. So that was the first session. And so we moved to the next session of courageous leadership. And with the courageous leadership, as you know, some of you are already prefects within your schools, or some of you are already aspiring to do something within your communities. And we wanted you to understand that when you are in a leadership position, you will come across hurdles. And this was about teaching you how to handle those hurdles if you do come across them. Because unfortunately, most of the time when you take a leadership role, it comes with a level of responsibility. So we needed you to understand that when you are in that position, there's certain things that will definitely happen and or might happen, and how to handle them. And then we went on to the art of communication. That's where we touched on about understanding your audience and knowing your subjects, things like that. That was more on when you want something. I know that we made an example using like a parent and a child talking, but the art of communication is not just about your parents. You're going to move into a workplace, some of you, once you pass matric, you're going to go to university. You will need to negotiate your way into certain things. You'll need to, for an example, if you want to accomplish something that somebody else may not be able to understand, you need to understand where you're coming from. So if I'm your mother, you need to say, okay, my mother loves 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I approach her from a certain angle, I may not win this, this case. But if I approach her from this angle and explain myself in a certain way, I'll definitely, be able to convince her that this is the right thing to do, and this is what I would, and maybe come to some sort of an understanding, and so that you can get your message across. That was the art of communication. And then Peggy, I don't know, you'll take over from here with negotiations.
Okay, thank you so much, Asnath. Okay, just to continue then, session 4, negotiation. Now, negotiation, the question that we can all ask ourselves is, what are typical negotiation challenges that you face? You know, who do we have to negotiate with? Is it students? Do we negotiate as daughters? We negotiate as community people? We negotiate as friends, right? But let's hold that thought. The main objectives of this key concept of negotiation. Firstly, if we go back to the video, I don't know if you guys have watched the video, but we heard Professor talking about the 3 important alphabets which make the word you, which forms a very important concept of negotiation, and meaning that you advocate for yourself and for others. Now, the main objective of this session is to make sure that we help mentees to become effective negotiators for themselves and for others. And we want them to be able to use their voice, you know, to push through for themselves and for others as well, to push through unforeseen and seen impossible situations as girls, you know, in this volatile world, in this place where the industry is mostly male dominated, depending on whichever industry you can think of. And we want you to not perceive a negotiation as a highly technical subject where it says women are soft, so as women you can do not negotiate. You can actually negotiate better as women because we've got emotional intelligence, and using emotions, showing empathy is one of the best weapons to use when you negotiate. And you must note that even though studies have shown that women are not as good at negotiators as men, the status quo cannot remain like that. We want to impart the knowledge for you girls to say, you know, go out there, stand your ground, use all the 3 other aspects and this one to go out and negotiate. You've learned the art of communication. You've learned how to be courageous leaders. You've built the trust. So now you can be a stronger girl or woman to go out there and negotiate. And in the process, you learn how to deal with your emotions. You know, you use emotional intelligence to make sure that you downplay the situation then so that it favors you, but being empathic at the same time. Now, the key concept of negotiation, as mentioned by the professor, which is spells the word you, yourself. The first Y stands for yourself. So what are your goals? What are your interests? You know, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So you need to refer back to courageous leadership. What is your mission? You know, know your why behind the what. If you go back to the art of communication, so taking all those key concepts, and you need to know why why you're doing what you're doing. You know, with the negotiation. I'm sorry about that. So advocating for yourself, meaning standing for what you believe in, know your why behind your what, you know, stand your ground, be firm, you know, call to action, all those steps that we were taught in the art of communication, you need to apply that when you advocate for yourself. The O in the U, advocating for others. Which people can help you to actually achieve your goals? What are their goals? What are their interests? And in the process, you need to know who are your allies and how do you work to make sure that your allies are actually empathic or sympathetic towards your interests and your goals. That is advocating for others. Courageous leadership, you're talking about standing for other people, talking about standing for the community. So the O in the U stands for that, advocating for others. U, which is understanding on the last part, the last alphabet. How can you appeal to the people of interest, people that understand your interest, your objectives, and your goals? How do you appeal to them? What are their goals? You need to understand what their goals are. And you need to have the skills to be empathic towards them. Listening, you know, listening is very important. And demonstrating how your goals and their goals align. That way, it's easy for you to advocate for yourself, others, and understand the situation and be a better negotiator. And then the key messages on this session, you just need to know that we always have options to apply the U framework. And applying the U framework, you need to consider that even though you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, the results can be different. You know, it can go either way. So results can be a win-win situation. The results can mean you get more than the other, or the other person gets more than what you are anticipating to get. Or the results can be that no one wins. So there will be no deal. You all walk away with nothing, but obviously you both walk away with debating or negotiating, each and everyone advocating for themselves or for others, depending on the type of negotiations that you're faced with. And you need to learn that when you're negotiating, even though you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, but you need to avoid, you know, showing emotions that don't go with listening or being empathic, because then the framework is not complete if the other if it does not, it's not aligned to what you're trying to achieve. And knowing what you really want out of the negotiation is very important. So this is where I'm still stressing the art of communication, and being a courageous leader in negotiation is very important. And that's about it in a nutshell. That's what I could understand by negotiation. So the most important thing that I think you need to take away out of this is that the alignment of being a good communicator, being a courageous leader, plays a very vital role when one is negotiating. And if you can take those basic concepts, that will take you a long way. You know, that will assist you as part of the basic concept into negotiation. And it doesn't matter where you negotiation, because maybe we think that negotiating means going for an interview or it's only in the workplace. We negotiate every day of our lives. We negotiate with our parents, we negotiate with our friends, we negotiate with a shop owner somewhere in the corner when you go and buy, or you don't have enough money to buy, then you have to buy something. So negotiation is a part of our daily lives. And with that being said, oh God.
Ntombi, we can still hear you.
Technology is failing me as well today. Yes. So I was still saying that we negotiate daily in our lives. So we must not take it that it's only technical. So every day of our life is a negotiation. Negotiating with a parent, negotiating with a friend, that's still negotiating. So you still apply the same framework, the you framework, yourself, advocating for yourself, advocating for others, and understanding the situation. Okay. And anything else, Val?
Do the role plays.
Yes. Okay, now, as I've mentioned that with negotiation, it can either turn either way. But then we've got 3 role plays today that Gloria is going to assist us, and Ravelina is also going to assist us, and Val is going to do a role play for us where we want to show the 3 different results that you can get out of negotiating with either a parent or a school teacher or a friend. But in this case, it's daughters negotiating with their parents. So Gloria, you're going to go first?
That's fine. We can do it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yes, so Ma, I was wondering if you could allow me to go to this party that is taking place this Thursday, and all my friends are going. So I was wondering if you could allow me to go.
Hello, Priska. What is our values here at home? Don't you greet your mother first?
Yeah, hi. Well,
okay. Hello, my dear. What can I do for you?
Yes, I was wondering if you could allow me to go to this party that is taking place this Thursday, and all my friends are going.
Okay, my daughter, you know very well that I don't like parties, especially at this time. You're busy with your exams, and you know the current situation right now in terms of the pandemic. It is not yet over, so I will be very, very irresponsible if I can allow you to go to this party. I don't even know who are these people that you are going out with.
Ma, but I'm going with my friends. They are very close friends. You know them, like they visited, like they always visit constantly. Plus, the party is going to have like social distancing and stuff. So it's not like it's gonna be crowded. It's like there's social distancing, there's regulation, and there's rules and everything. So you don't need to worry about the rules and stuff. And I'll be safe.
I want you to understand, I don't like parties. It ends there. This is exam time. All I want you to focus on is your studies. You know your grandfather's motto, ne? Take your books and study, and that's it. That's all what I want from you now.
But
you are not going to the parties. I don't even know the parents of these girls. I don't know their values. So understand me, my daughter. I love you very much, but I cannot allow you.
Thank you very much, Gloria. We'll note the results there. Thank you very much, Ravelina.
Okay, thank you. We tried. I was trying to be a difficult mother.
But I've been studying this whole term.
Can you see me? Yesterday, day before yesterday, I was not seen.
Yes, we can see you.
Sorry, just before we carry on, can we just discuss what the outcome was of that negotiation?
Oh, do we have to discuss it now?
Yeah, so let's just quickly, so who won that negotiation and how, and you know, what?
Okay, from what I can figure out from this one, it's the mother got more than what the daughter should, because the daughter didn't get to go to the party. The mother got to put her feet down and be the parent, and you not going. So the mother gets more than the daughter.
Absolutely, and we'll talk about why just now. Thank you, Ntombi, it's perfect. Okay, next.
Okay. Carol, my baby, you said you want to talk to me about something earlier on. Now is your opportunity. I have time for you. Let's say to me.
Hi, Mom. How are you?
I am good, in yourself.
I'm good, and you? So, Mom, I have to go to I was invited to a birthday party, and I was just hoping if you would let me go.
Oh, a birthday party.
Yes, Mom.
How started that when you are writing, you have a birthday party, don't you think?
Excuse me, Mom?
How sudden that all of a sudden you have a birthday party and it's exam period?
Ma, it's actually going to be on Saturday, and it was not planned. It was last minute.
Okay, so if it's last minute, how are you gonna plan around it? Because it just happened that the party is gonna be on Saturday.
Ma, I can go for a few hours and then be back home to study.
Few hours for you is not few hours for me. Few hours for me, maybe it's an hour or two, but for you could be 5 hours, my baby. So how are you gonna work around that?
Ma, I can go there for just maybe 4 hours and I'll be back home.
And how are we gonna keep track of time? Because these days you seem to be losing track of time, I've noticed.
I can set an alarm.
Okay. So if I come pick you up, we are not gonna have issues.
Yes, Mommy.
Okay, in that case, then it's fine. But now you have to, if you have studied, you have to show me how far you've gone with your studies. Because whatever you're studying, I've studied it before. So I know when you have studied enough.
Yes, Ma. I promise to study.
Okay, no problem. Then you can go to your party on Saturday.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. That's it. I think that's it.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone want to go on this one? What do you think the results are on this one?
It was a win-win situation compared to the first one where it was a win-lose.
Okay, yeah, no, I support that one as well. Okay, the last one.
Where are the mentees to comment?
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, where are the mentees? They're not commenting.
They're here, they're just watching us. Zanele?
Okay, so I felt that this one was more calm. She knew what she wanted. and she went for it. She didn't give up so fast to say, oh, okay, you know what? Okay, since her mom had spoken about the timekeeping, because then you don't want to go to a party and then you're setting an alarm with the, okay, once 4 hours is up, okay, I have to go back home. But then again, because she wanted to go, she had to understand her mom, and her mom had to understand her. So I feel, yeah, this one went out well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anele.
You're welcome.
Miss Val.
Where's my swag girl, Miss Tintswalo? Is she here? Where is she?
Yeah, she's here.
There you are. There you are.
She's here.
Tintswalo, have you got a voice or do you need to type?
No, it's fine. I'll speak.
So terrible. This is my mom face, okay?
Okay. Good evening, Mom. Remember I said I wanted to speak to you. Can I speak to you now?
Yeah, sure. What's up? What's up? I'm just busy cooking dinner at the moment.
Okay, so Mom, we finished writing. So I wanted to go out with friends, you know, refresh before we can start studying again. Is that okay?
Which friends do you want to go out with? And why?
We are celebrating after the fact that we are done with our exams right now. So can I go out? Is that okay?
Tintswalo, listen to you. You are sick. We are in the middle of a pandemic right now.
But
There are people sick. No,
Mom, wait, listen to me. No, Mom, listen to me. Please just give me a chance.
No, Tintswalo.
Mom, please, I'll wear a mask. I'll carry my.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. This conversation is over. Finished.
Ugh, Mom, you're so annoying.
Wow, nice one. Okay, anyone wants to go with this one? What do you think the results are on this one?
Can I please go on this one?
Yeah.
So I just think this version of negotiation is negotiation gone wrong, because I feel like none of them heard each other's points, and no reasoning was given of why the other one is saying no and why the other one wants to go. So no one got to, like, you know, lay down a reason as in why I want to go or why you can't go. So in this case, there was absolutely no negotiation. It was either my way or the highway.
Yeah.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I support that one. So this one is a definitely no deal. So they all walk away with nothing. Great one, great one. And do you still want to elaborate, Val? Because you said you wanted us to sum up all three of them to give the reason why do we think the first one, for an example, where the mother gets more than the child. Do you want to elaborate on that?
So I won't talk for long, but I think, so in the first one, there was a level of checking if the situation was okay and if it was a good time to talk. There was a good sort of rapport. Even though only one person got their way, there was still a kind way of speaking to each other. They both came in strong. They were both feeling, trying to get their point across. And both did speak a little bit about what they wanted, but ultimately one won the negotiation. In the second one, you can see there was complete meeting. They both came in, they both had exactly thinking about what they want to say. They had discussed or thought about what the various outcomes could be. So you could see the daughter had an answer for every question that the mom had. So she thought about what questions the mom would ask, and she had an answer. And because of that, there was immediately a meeting of the minds, and they could actually negotiate and come away with outcomes. In the last one, there was emotion, there was no logic, they were speaking over each other, there was no listening happening, there was nothing. They both just weren't even prepared to think about the other one's point of view. So the principle wasn't even remote, the framework wasn't applied at all. So those are just very simple examples of a very day-to-day thing that you guys do almost every day without even realizing. We're not talking about boardrooms, we're not talking about high places where parliament or whatever, we're talking about on a day-to-day basis where there are situations that you are negotiating. Even when it comes to having who's going to get the remote control for the TV, right? Even that is a negotiation. And so whenever you're doing these situations, just think about that. Thank you, Ntombi.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Just before we've got, we're running very out of time, but then we're still gonna give our guest had 30 minutes, 20 minutes to tell us a speech and the 10 minutes for questions. I'm just gonna quickly read the bio. It's not a full bio, because if I had to go through the full bio, then it will take the whole session, because she's quite an achiever, this one. So I've just tried to summarize and only pick a few important points that I think we can share with the girls. But in as far as the rest of her resume, she can actually tell the girls all about that. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly share my screen with you guys so that I can go through that. Okay, so our guest today is Boitumelo Tumi Tribas Katisi. So Tumi is a South African lady born in Pimville, Soweto. She's a 28-year-old commercial pilot and studying towards an instructor's rating. And she's a 2018 award winner for Wonder of Aviation SA and a recipient of the Schenck Family Award. She was chosen as a board member protégé for the Commercial Aviation Association of Southern Africa for 2019-2020, just to mention a few of her awards, because she's got a whole list of that. She's a nominee for the education category of the Mail and Guardian 200 Young South Africans Awards in 2020. So as I said, I've only tried to pick only a few that I felt were like most of the points that can resonate with the girls, especially the girls coming from the industry of aviation, but her resume is phenomenal. So I'm just gonna give Tumi to take the stage. Ms. Tribas.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hey.
So yeah, my name is Tumi. Tumi from Soweto and Pimville, but right now I'm located in Pretoria, because that's where I'm actually doing my flying at the moment. Yeah, so I began my journey in grade 10, I could say. In grade 10, that's actually when I actually realized that I want to become a pilot. And I wasn't a born pilot, unfortunately. I was not one of those kids that knew from like a very young age that this is what I want to do. So it happened by chance. We had a life orientation task in grade 10, and you basically had to go visit a workplace that you see yourself in for a day. And I wanted to become an engineer at that time. So I actually wrote to a couple of engineering companies, like emailed them asking them if they can come shadow for the day. And none of them responded in time. So fortunately for me, my aunt works at SAA. She did admin there. And what happened is that my mom actually gave her a call and asked her if I could go with her to work just so I can experience SAA and what she does. And yeah, she took me to work, and I went to, when I was driving towards the airport, I'd see these big planes coming into land. So it's actually the first time I actually noticed a plane like so low and so big. And you know, it kind of caught my attention. And then yeah, we got to the offices, and yeah, she did like admin, so I was kind of bored watching her do her work. And what I actually did, she actually called a friend who works at the pilot side, the air side, where the pilots check in and check in for their flights and so forth. And yeah, she actually called a friend, and a friend came to pick me up and took me to the pilot side. And the first thing I saw when I walked in was like a row of actually the pilot hats lined up, and I saw the suits, the jackets with the stripes. And you know, I was very excited at that moment. So I went and met one of the guys that actually handles all the check-in and the pilot information to do with the flights. So I basically shadowed him for the day, and a number of pilots came in. I spoke to a couple of them. It was very interesting. And I think I was there the whole day, but I didn't even see one female pilot. I saw quite a bunch of the flight attendants, females, and I spoke to them. They were very friendly and nice. Spoke to the pilots also. And, you know, I was very intrigued about this career. And at the same time, I was also wondering, why are there no females here? Because all I see is male pilots. So why are all the females settling to be flight attendants? So that's kind of another thing that actually, you know, got me interested in aviation, because when I asked the guy who was handling all the pilot paperwork to why females were not settling to become pilots, he did say that a lot of females are like scared to go into the pilot career. They feel kind of intimidated in the way that the male pilots don't see themselves with females in the cockpit. And females in general don't see themselves working as pilots. And I think from there on, you know, I wanted to become one of the girls that changed that statistics, you know, change that mindset that a lot of males have around that females can't fly planes or they shouldn't be here. And yeah, from that moment on, when I left and went home, I actually went to my mom and I told her that I want to become a pilot. And yeah, at that moment, she didn't believe me. It took a lot of convincing to actually get my mom to believe that I want to become a pilot. So I completed my matric. I actually went to Branchton High. I completed my matric, and the first year out of high school was a year of convincing my mom that I want to become a pilot. Because during my grade 11 year, she actually came home with a couple of application forms from universities, so Wits, University of Johannesburg, and colleges and stuff. And she kind of like wanted me to fill them in so that, you know, I could apply for bursaries to go study engineering and like anything else that I wanted to study, but it had to be in university. So I did tell her that, you know what, piloting you can only do at a flight school. You can't do piloting like in university. And she was just not hearing me, you know. So what I did with those papers, I actually took them and put them under my bed. During my grade 11 year, I put all those forms under my bed, and then she would ask me if I had sent them back, had posted them back, and I'll tell her that I did. I told her that I did, just so that she can ease off me regarding this applying for university thing. And I remember at the end of grade 11, she asked me if I had any response, and I told her no, I didn't get any response. Matric the whole year, did they respond? Did they respond? I'm like, no, they didn't respond. And deep down, I knew that I didn't apply. So when I did my matric the following year, so one of my aunts works with putting kids into colleges, right? And basically, it's kids basically from townships and rural areas. And these kids are kids that can't afford, you know, to pay for university and so forth. So she actually came to pick me up. She spoke to my mom. I never knew about it. All I knew is that they picked me up on a Monday morning, and there was a whole bunch of kids in the shuttle. And then I was wondering, where are we going? And then they're like, no, we're going to a couple of colleges. We're going to apply for courses. So I remember driving to about three. I think there were 3 colleges we were going to that day. The first one I didn't apply. My aunt spoke to me the whole way to the second college to try to get me to apply for something. I still didn't. It even got to me crying. I actually had to cry and tell her, like, this is not what I want to do. I want to do piloting, and that's it. So I think my mom only kind of took me seriously after that day. And yeah, I remember I got back home. When I got back home, this is where the first negotiation took place. So my mom sat me down and asked me, okay, what do you want to do? And I told her that I really want to become a pilot, mom. And, you know, she was kind of like trying to understand, because I changed career choices so much in high school, from being a medical doctor to an engineer to an architect. So I could pretty much feel why she was not, you know, settled with me wanting to become a pilot. And yeah, I sat her down and I told her that, you know, I want to become a pilot. I fell in love with this career, and this is what I see myself doing. And then she asked me what are the requirements to do piloting. So at that time, I'd done my research, but it wasn't enough. So what I actually did, I told her that there was an issue that was actually coming up. So I asked her if I could go to the issue. And yeah, she asked me if I wouldn't get lost. And I was like, no, I won't get lost. I know where Germanston is and where Rand Airport is. Then she's like, okay, you can go to the air show. So yeah, I woke up on Saturday morning. I went to my first air show, and that's when I saw aviation for the first time, like, you know, the real aviation, the air show, the pilots, everything was there. The aircrafts were there. We could touch them, we could feel them, you know. And while I was walking at the air show, there was a company called Rasa. So they were actually running, I can't say it's a competition, but you could apply to take part in the internship. So the internship would run for like 6 months during that year. And what Rasa does, they actually focus on recreational aviation. So recreational aviation is like flying for fun. So people that fly your aerobatic planes, air balloons, hot air balloons. So it's not people that are flying in the airlines, but any kind of flying, but that doesn't have to do with the airlines and private jets and so forth. And I applied for it. And then I went home and I told my mom that I had applied for this internship. And I also went home with a lot of codes from flight schools, because I looked around for flight schools to try to find out what's required to join a flight school. And I remember I showed her the codes. It was about, I think, 350,000 Rand to train towards a commercial pilot license. And that was too much. It was too much for her. She told me straight that, no, this is a lot of money. I don't know if I'll be able to do this, my child, but yeah, it's a lot of money. And, you know, it kind of got me down at that moment. But at the same time, I could understand because I had 2 other kids after me. So my little sister and my late uncle's son that my mom actually took care of and took to school. So I couldn't be selfish and be like, please take me to flight school. And then what about them and their education and everything, you know? Luckily, I think a week or 2 weeks after, I got a call from Rasa, and I had made the shortlist of the candidates that would actually take part in this internship. So yeah, I had to go for an interview. There was about, I think, 15 to 20 of us at the interview, and I made the cut for top 4 that they actually chose. And yeah, I was overwhelmed at that moment that, you know, at least it's something I got my entry into aviation, even though it was not piloting, but it was something to do with aviation. So when I started there, we used to get a stipend. I remember it was a 6 months course, and you get to learn about recreational aviation, how to process a license, and so forth. And yeah, you used to get a stipend. I think it was about 3,000 Rand. And at that time, because I used to take a taxi all the way from Soweto to Rand Airport on a daily, so I'd spend like over 1,000 Rand like on transport. And you know, whatever I could save up in that month, I actually gave to my mom to actually save for my flight training. You know, I never gave up on that vision because I knew that I want to do piloting at the end of the day, as much as I'm doing this internship. And we had a career day one day at the internship, and you had to come dressed as what you want to be. So that's actually when I bought my pilot uniform. So I walked to the pilot shop after the internship one day. I got my first shirt. I got my one stripe epaulets, and yeah, I got a tie and I got pants. And I came to work for the internship dressed as a pilot. And I remember that morning when my mom saw me in that uniform. I think, you know, it kind of inspired her. Like, okay, I see my daughter doing this. I support this vision. So I think that was like a cement I needed, like, for her to believe in me and this dream I had. And from that day, because I saved up a little, I never knew that my mom was actually saving for my private pilot license. So she sat me down and we negotiated again. And, you know, she told me that, you know, this 350,000 Rand is a lot of money. So I told her that, you know what, if you manage to pay for my first license, which was the private pilot license, it was around 90,000 Rand at that moment. I told her, if you manage to pay for this license, I'll see myself forward from there on. I'll see myself that I get sponsors. I'll see myself that I get money to complete my training. I just want you to get me started, basically, give me that head start. And yeah, my mom was actually, yeah, because she's an entrepreneur, my mom. So she owns like a taxi business. So what she actually did to actually save up the money, she only told me this year. So this is after 5 years of flying, that, you know, she actually took her money in the end. There was actually doing some stopfill type of thing with the ladies at the Taxi Association. And that's how she actually managed to get the money for my flight training. But at that moment, because stopfill is a rotation, right? And it can rotate after 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, where she gets money to put into my flying account. So with flight school, I found a flight school I wanted to join. And, you know, flight school is a pay as you go person. So you put in however, how much money you can afford. And with that money, you can write your exams, you can start your flying or do whatever. But the minute your account runs low, you can't be productive at the flight school until you top up your account again. So my mom could manage about 20,000 Rand this month. You know, probably have to wait for 2 or 3 months, then she'll put in another 20,000 Rand because it rotates, right? And yeah, there were times where I had to sit at home for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because I didn't have money. I used that money to fly or write exams. And you know, that whole 2 weeks, 3 weeks pause, it will affect my training at the end of the day, because every time I go back, I have to recap on stuff I did before. And that's when I saw that this thing is gonna take time. And at the same time, I can't tell my mom that I can't put pressure on her to be able to put in all the money because she doesn't have it. And I saw a post at the previous company I interned for. They needed a receptionist, so I applied for the post and I got the job. So with the job, so now I used to go to school probably for 2 hours, and for the rest of the day I'm at work until 3. And I remember we used to get paid about 7,000 Rand, and transport, I had to count transport and other commitments, had to buy food for at home, you know, help my mom. And with the money that's left, it was always about 3,000, 4,000 Rand. And you know, you've got your friends, they're buying cars, they're buying clothes, they're going out, but I had to make that sacrifice because I knew what I wanted. So with that money, I would put it into my flying school account, and that 3,000 Rand made a difference to me at the end of the day, because I'd go to school and fly, even if it's twice, just to keep that balance, you know, with waiting within that 2 to 3 weeks. And one day I was sitting at work and I decided, I don't know what came to me, but I wrote a motivational letter. And this letter, I actually sent it out to every company you can think of. So your Colgate, your toilet paper, your Sasco bread, whoever, like, you know, I even took a newspaper, I took a magazine, aviation magazine, I looked at all the brands, and I actually went on Google, found their email address, and I emailed everyone. So I think it was over like 100 companies that I emailed, and 98% of them, their response was negative. They couldn't help me with by sponsoring my flight training because aviation is a private sector, for one. And some of them just didn't read, like they had no interest. But I never gave up. I didn't give up until I got a call from Pick n Pay. So Pick n Pay has a private jet. They had a jet that used to fly in at Rand Airport. So the registration was like ZSPNP. So I just called it the Pick n Pay jet. So for me to even mention that aircraft in that letter, it was by chance because I never really knew if it was a Pick n Pay jet, you know? And yeah, they called me back and they actually wanted to help me and fund me. But the problem was the time they received my letter was the end of the financial year. So when I was speaking to this lady, I negotiated with her that, you know, it's fine, I can wait until next year. Yeah, it's fine, you guys can pay for my flying next year when your financial year opens. And that was a deal I actually stuck with Pick n Pay. They were more than happy to help me with my flight training. So while I was busy at flight school, I came across an organization that actually hosts aviation camps for girls on a yearly basis. So they used to get like grade 8 to 10 and some matric learners from across the country. And these learners, I think there was about 50 girls. You'd go to a campsite and then the whole week you only focus on aviation. So I applied to be one of the mentees because they needed mentees at that time. And they took me as one of the mentees. And I remember it was after I went solo. So I flew the aircraft for the very first time on my own. So I had I now owned and and earned that one bar that I was wearing across my shoulder. And yeah, at this camp, I met a friend. She flies for the airlines now, and she basically was interested in finding out like how far am I with my flying. So I did tell her what I was doing, and with that, she actually picked up that I needed funding, and not knowing that she actually wrote to 94.7 Christmas wish. She wrote to 94.7 Christmas wish on my behalf to get funding towards my commercial pilot license. And yeah, I remember they surprised me at the airport, and that's when I got the sponsorship from Oppenheimer and Sons and Anglo American. So they actually sponsored me with 290,000 Rand towards my commercial pilot license. And as I said to my mom, I'll make a plan. And also with those motivational letters I was sending out before I got the 94.7 thing, I actually wrote to Breitling. So Breitling makes those famous pilot watches. So with Breitling, they actually contacted me and they were like, to me, we're going to give you a watch. And this watch is worth 80,000 Rand. And with this watch, we want you to run a raffle. So we're going to give you 600 tickets, and each ticket you have to sell for 100 Rand. Meaning that if I sell all those tickets, I would raise 60,000 Rand towards my training. And yeah, I managed to sell just over 300 tickets. I contacted a couple of aviation magazines to issue an ad, and not knowing that there was somebody that actually contacted the National Lottery Board, and they actually reported my raffle to the lottery board and the lottery board sent me an email telling me that I need to stop my raffle and I need to give everybody their money back. Whoever bought the tickets, I must give them their money back. I need to apply through the National Lottery Board to have this raffle. And it can take anything from a month to 6 months to a year to 2 years for them to respond if I can have this raffle or not. So yeah, the first email I got, so I ignored it. And then I got a second email, and then I wasn't too sure about it. So as I was about to ignore it, I got the call from the guy from the National Lottery Board, and he told me that someone had reported my raffle because I didn't have a lottery number, and I need to stop that raffle. And I tried negotiating with the guy and telling him, the money is going towards my flight training. I'm not gonna buy a car or anything fancy with that money. It's going towards my education. And yeah, it was a negotiation went wrong because he didn't want to hear me out, and he told me that I need to stop or they'll get me arrested because what I was doing is illegal, and he doesn't want to see me promoting my raffle anyway. I should tell all the magazines to cut it out and so forth. So yeah, at that moment it was a hard time for me. Like I didn't know what to do. I was young, so I spoke to a couple of my mentees on my mentors on how to go about handling the situation. So I had to stop. I contacted each and everyone that bought a ticket. I had a guy in Australia that bought about 10 tickets or 30 tickets. So yeah, I had to contact everyone and tell them that I have to stop the raffle because of the National Lottery Board. And yeah, almost everyone told me to keep the money. It's fine. They understand the situation, which is a blessing. And I had this watch that Breitling gave to me. So what can I do with this watch? So yeah, we decided to have a launch, and like a small launch of the watch, and then at the end of the day, I'll actually I sell this watch to one lucky buyer. So now with that, I can only invite a certain amount of people that I trust. So I could only invite about five people that I knew wanted the watch and had the money to buy the watch. And I ended up selling the watch for half its worth, which is 40,000 Rand, which I was still okay with because I had raised over 30,000 Rand. So yeah, after that, that's the money that I used to actually go solo. And the money that I got from Anglo American and the Oppenheimer and Sons I used towards getting my commercial pilot license. So yeah, that was just a summary and highlights of everything I went through regarding my aviation journey and getting to where I am now. So with this, I actually noticed that, you know, it's hard for a lot of kids out there, especially aspiring aviators, that don't have the funding and also the lack of information, because that's another thing I struggled with, getting the right information to know where do I go from here, where do I apply for flight school, what's required, and so forth. I had the lack of information. I didn't have mentors that I could ask on what, you know, to ask the basics when I started my flying journey. So I took it upon myself to start an organization. And this organization focuses on aviation awareness. So we actually take aviation information to kids in the township and rural areas, because I think that those kids deserve to know about aviation. And, you know, some of them, we find that they do want to do something in aviation, but they just didn't know who to ask and how to ask. So yeah, I think with that journey, I mean, like they said, every day in your life is a negotiation. You negotiate with everything in your life. So also with your parents, you are going to get parents that want to choose certain career fields for you to go into. And luckily for me, I could, you know, I had to, as much as I had to prove to my mom, this is what I wanted to do. And, you know, for her to understand that this is what I wanted to do, and for her trusting me enough to, you know, to save up for my first license. I mean, after I sat down with her and I told her that, you know what, I just need you to pay for this license. For what happens from there on, I'll see myself. So for her to be able to sacrifice the money and save up in a stockpile to raise funds for me without even knowing was a blessing, I could say. So yeah, I think that negotiation factor is very important. I mean, some negotiations go wrong, like what I had with the National Lottery Board. It worked up to their favor because I had to stop the raffle. But at the same time, negotiating with my mom to start my training worked for me. It worked in my favor, and it also worked for her, because at the end it paid out. It paid out. You're still gonna negotiate in flight school, so it's just not the daily basis. So in flight school, you negotiate on a daily basis with your flight instructor. I've had a negotiation with one of my instructors. Had to leave for the airline, and I had to complete my training. So I had to negotiate with the school to give me a training instructor. And fortunately, we didn't have an instructor that would train me on that aircraft at the flight school at that moment. So they had to outsource. And the instructor that they outsourced to do my training he was not a passionate instructor. It's not somebody who likes instructing. So you can imagine each and every flight I did with him, I was not happy. For one, because he doesn't expect me to do mistakes. So he expects you to be 100% and perfect with the flying. And I had to go back to the school owner, the boss, and, you know, try and negotiate for a better instructor, because I saw that my training is going nowhere. At the same time, I'm wasting money, which I don't even have, and wasting my time. And yeah, the negotiation went good, and I got a better instructor who was able to finish my training. And yeah, I got qualified as a commercial pilot license. So I think, yeah, that's just to wrap it up on my side.
Wow, very inspirational to me.
Thank you.
And ladies, take it away. Tumi is all yours. You can ask her all the questions that you want to ask her. Come on, girls.
For me, it's not a question. I was to have the mentee. It's just a comment. I was emotional as you were talking, because your strategy is exactly what I did with my parents to join the aviation industry. For me, when I was in grade 12, I knew exactly what I wanted to see. My mission was to see the world. But unfortunately, I was not a technical person. I was more on the glamorous side, where I just wanted to see myself pulling that suitcase to be able to see the world. But I was fortunate because I happened to be at the right place, the right time. So joining the aviation industry, I started as an air traffic controller. But my dream was like, I just want to serve tea and coffee on board. That's exactly what I want to do. And fortunately, the opportunity came. I was in Mafikeng, then we had Bob Air. Then after Bob Air, it was SAA. So I was one of those pioneer girls for SAA. So it is unfortunate you and Asnath, I could not fly with you because at that time the industry was just dominated by male people. So I flew with people like Mpo and the others. Well done, congratulations. It's not an easy industry. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Come on, girls. Questions for Dumi. She's here for you guys.
I have a question.
So, to fly.
I have a question.
Go ahead, girl.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask that what kept Dumi going throughout the trials and tribulations that she had along the way? Because it wasn't an easy ride getting to where she got to. So like what kept her going? What kept her motivated to keep on trying and not giving up? Because like a lot of things did go wrong in the time when she was trying, especially finance-wise. So what kept you going and motivated that, you know what, I'm gonna get there eventually?
For me, it was definitely my passion. Because like I said, I fell in love with this industry and my vision was to become a pilot, and I didn't stop at that. With everything that came along, obviously you're gonna get negatives. I was told by my own principal in high school that I would never become a pilot, and that's the fuel that you need. Sometimes you need to get fueled by negativity so that you realize your dream and your vision. So at that moment, that keeps me going till today is my passion, because you're never going to stop having negative people in your life or negative things that come towards you. So if you love what you do and you're passionate about it, that passion keeps you going.
Anyone? Come, girls. I know most of you want to become pilots, so this is a chance to ask me all the questions that you want to ask.
Okay, I'm not one of the mentees, but I'm just going to comment while we wait for one of the girls. To me, thanks for that story. I found it quite emotional because at every block or challenge, you found a way around. And the one thing you mentioned was that your mom is an entrepreneur. So I think you might also have looked at her and said that how does she get around and how does she position herself to achieve her goals? So thanks for the inspiring story. Thanks for sharing to us that it doesn't matter where you come from, the sky is the limit. And yeah, blessings. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I ask a question to me? Through your journey, did you ever feel like you were an entrepreneur?
I mean, certainly, because like I said, I told my mom to only finance my first license. So while I was doing that first license, I had to think of a way of how will I get money to finish this training until I'm qualified as a commercial pilot and working at the airlines or wherever I want to work, and making a living for myself, because I can't live on that first license. So at that moment, while I was doing my training, I had to think out the box. Because at that moment when I started at the flight school where I was at, I was the only female, I was the only Black person there when they actually started. So I was surrounded by guys, and guys are competitive. So you'd get days where your friends that you started with now start getting their licenses, and you like sitting at home and you're stuck because of funding. And it gets to you, I won't lie, it got to me. But there's one thing that I believe in: God's timing is the best, and you can't change that. If God wants a certain thing for you at a certain time, it will happen at each time. So you just need to trust the process.
Amen to that.
Can I ask another question to me?
Yeah.
negotiations, right? What do you think convinced the people to believe or meet your targets or demands?
I think most, if even today, it's my passion. Um, you can see that I want to become a pilot. You can see I speak aviation. I live aviation. I sleep aviation. So for somebody to believe in my vision and my dream, they can see that it's attainable because I love this so much, and nothing can get in the way, unless if God wants me to go do something else. But yeah, apart from that, I think because I am what I say I am. So it's like sending a CV to a company. I always tell kids that actually apply for bursaries or whatever, or a job. If you send me a CV saying that you love aviation, or a motivational letter, you send me a motivational letter saying you love aviation and it's your first love, and you want this bursary because you're the most passionate aviator. These companies actually look at your social media. That's one thing that a lot of the youth don't notice. So if I go to social media and all I see is party life and alcohol and whatnot, I'm not going to believe what you wrote in that letter. So for me, it reflected. If they had to go to my social media, they could see that reflection that, I really love aviation. So I go to the point that whatever you post online for the world to see is a reflection of you. So if you're saying you're a passionate aviator, if I go to social media or whatever, I must be able to see the passion that you're talking about. Because passion is something that you wake up to every morning. So like my room, for instance, for me to wake up every morning, I see my goals, I see my vision. This is my vision board.
Can I just add something?
Yes, please.
What saddens me is that Dumi qualified probably 15 years after me, if not more. And yet she's gone through a very, very similar situation that I went through, But what I wanted to say is that just coming to the social media, it's not even a joke what Dumi is saying now, that social media will impact your life. I'll give you an example. When you apply to airlines like Emirates, they have your social media status already. They will let you sit in an interview and they'll pull something that you did 5 years ago and say, confirm this was you. So you need to be very careful what you put out there. You need to be very careful. I've seen people on Twitter becoming nasty and becoming, doing all sorts of things. Those things are kept for life. You cannot erase them. They are there, they are out there for life. So what you do on social media, believe you me, it can impact your life 10 years from now. You'll have a very good job lined up, you have everything except what's happening in your real life outside. So girls, it's not a joke. I understand some of you are teenagers, you want to vent out. Believe you me, it will catch up with you when you're 28 years old, you're looking for a job and they give someone else the position. So be careful what you do online. And secondly, I've had people contact me telling me they want to be pilots. And what Dumi is saying, if you want to be a pilot, you must leave that. You must live, breathe, and eat aviation. That's what must happen. You cannot come to me in this day and age where there's information is just everywhere. When you open your eyes, information is in front of you. That cell phone you're using, you're not. Some of you spend the whole day. I'm not saying it's in this group. I hope it's not in this group. But spend the whole day checking other things except for stuff that will actually impact their lives positively. So people come to me and say, I want to be a pilot. And I say, okay, what makes you want to be a pilot? And you start, touching there, going there, and I ask you, what airplane do you like? Which aircraft actually is your favorite? You can't tell me, and you want to be a pilot. And I'm at a point where, to be honest, I lose interest very quickly when that happens. I stop communicating. because you have all the information at the tips of your hands. Make sure that that data that you get, you're using it for the right things for your future. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you, Tumi.
Thank you.
Hello to me.
May I add?
Okay.
I think someone spoke before me. They should go, and then I'll go after.
Oh, okay. Hello to me.
No.
Yeah, I have two questions for you, ne? Like my first question is, what do you like and most enjoy about your job?
Okay. Are you gonna ask the second one also now?
Okay, answer me first, and I'll ask the
Okay.
second.
Okay, with aviation, one thing I like, especially what Sis Asnath is doing, you travel, besides the traveling to different places, it's not like an office job. So I don't come back to the same office every day, work 8 hours on a computer. It's very different in aviation where you fly to different destinations. You get different problems in the aircraft, so you won't have the same problem every time. It's always different. It's a new theme type of thing. So you don't know what to expect, but you know where you're going, you know your destination, and you know what to do, and it's different every time. So for me, it's that I don't get to do the same thing every day for the rest of my life.
Oh, okay. And my second question is, what advice do you have for aspiring pilots out there?
Okay. First advice for me, get the information you need, and get yourself a mentor. You're gonna need a mentor in this career because there are a lot of things that you don't know, and I feel like if there's someone ahead of you, there's always somebody you can ask, even if it's advice. Because flight school is not all roses. A whole lot happens there, and some things you're gonna need to speak to somebody outside that flight school to get advice on how to manage it. So for me, aspiring aviators, do your research, know your work. Yeah, and get a mentor. I can't stress that enough. You need to get yourself a mentor in whatever field you want to go into. Make sure that you have somebody that you can always speak to or ask questions. It's very important for yourself. It can also help you with a lot, and cutting off a lot of things for you. So yeah, get yourself a mentor in whatever field that you want to go into, and do your research.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ayanda, you can take it away.
Thank you. So evening, ladies, to those who I haven't spoken to today. I just wanted to say, firstly, to both Gloria and both Dumi, congratulations to both of you. Firstly, to also Gloria, please don't undermine your achievement. I always say, anyone who gets a job in apartheid should be commended because you had the entire world against you and you achieved what was in your heart. So to us, Gloria, I take my hat off to you. I say congratulations.
Thank you.
And then to Dumi, congratulations to you too. I think my favorite part of your story is the fact that you mentioned your mom, who was already in a male-dominated industry, and how she was thriving in that she even had a society, and you took that and went into another male-dominated industry and you thrived. So congratulations to you for achieving that. And what I want to say to the ladies is that you have Os Gloria and you have Dumi, who overcame opposition, which is a testimony to what you can do with your life. They had constant challenges thrown at them and they overcame it. And even when it was rough, they still stood up and walked. So this is your network, which you've already established. When you joined in session 1, you started a network. Will forever be your mentors, you'll forever have this network. So my advice to you is going forward, keep expanding your network. It's a small world and you have people like us who always want to help to achieve your goals. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Thank you so much to for the inspiring story and for motivating our girls and for encouraging them to show them that the sky is the limit. But the sky is not the limit because you guys reach it now, right? So thank you so much for sharing a story with us. And I know and I hope it's gonna resonate with the girls and they can draw from that. And as Asnath has said, you know, it's just that it's disappointing that we women have to go through all this, especially in the aviation industry. But what I can say to the girls is that there's hope and there's people that are paving the way. Young girls like you, people like Asnath that are paving the way. So there's hope for them. And at least when they get there, you guys would have cleaned up the stage for them to, you know, to start doing their actions. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And the girls can take away something from you because you're really living evidence that it's possible. Thank you so much. And now, guys, we're gonna go to the different circles. Val is gonna do the thing that she does best, taking us to the different circles so that we can discuss further. Thank you, Tumi.
Thank you. Enjoy your evening, guys.
With the next 30 minutes, can we discuss the feedback and just elaborate on what we've just discussed on our circles and on what Tumi has actually, Tumi's life story? I'm not sure how many groups we've got, Val. We've got 1, 2, 4, and 5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can start with group 1. Whoever was chosen from group 1 to please give us feedback and, you know, your thoughts on the whole session and Tumi's story. So who's representing group 1?
Yeah, I forgot these group numbers. I remember the names. I even forgot my group number.
It's you, group 1, Revelina. It's your group 1.
It's my group. So I'm so quiet and I'm like, God, I'm not on the spotlight more. So, okay, I'm just going to say one of my mentees from group 1 can volunteer. Whoever feels confident, please do volunteer.
Group 1?
I think you might have to nominate Revelina.
You might have to nominate because I think it's better if you nominate before then they can.
No, Carol said, I thought she'd put her hand up.
Okay.
I don't know if I should say good night or good morning, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. So what we and my group spoke about was basically negotiating. She asked that Miss Revelina asked us about our experiences where it was a win-win situation and whereby none of us won it all in the conversation. So just getting to hear what the other girls had to say actually made me feel like, okay, I'm not alone. We also face these issues with our moms, and our moms don't want to like agree with what we say. So yes, and with what Sumi said about her story, I feel that it's all about the way you approach life. So with her, she approached life in a positive way and it had a positive outcome. So for me, something that I would take is that you should learn how to approach life. You know, you should have positive thoughts and just make sure that whatever you want to do, you must always be passionate about it because it's more effective if you have thinking, if you have the passion. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, group 2 was Diamonds in the Rough. We only had Katleho, so Katleho has to be the one that is going to give us feedback. Katle?
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Katleho, so I'm from Diamonds in the Rough. So during our discussion in our circle, we defined what negotiation is, the skills that you need for negotiation, and a scenario that can improve your negotiation skills, right? So what we defined negotiation as is a win-win situation for both parties. So both parties need to share a common interest in order for them to reach their common objective. So for example, if you want to convince your mother into going out with your friends, then there should be a win-win situation for both you and your mother. So for example, maybe in return for her funding you to go out with your friends, you can do something for her, like pack her wardrobe or clean her shoes. So, and then from Dumi's story, we, the 3 scenarios that she had, where she had to engage in negotiation, right? The first scenario was when she had to convince her mother to persuade her that she wanted to do aviation, right? So she knew her orders there, so that's why the negotiation was successful, because she knew how to convince her mother into convincing her into pursuing her career. And then the second one, unfortunately, she didn't know her audience that well, so that's why it wasn't as successful to the national boardry convincing them that she wants to keep the rifle competition going on. And then in the third scenario, she had good communication skills. That's why she was able to make way into getting what she wanted through the workplace and communicating to others. That's what we discussed in our circle. Thank you.
Thank you, Katlego. Group 4, I'm not sure who's the representative for group 4.
It's Tintswalo.
Okay, Tintswalo.
Am I heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so in group 4, excuse me, in group 4, we first discussed on, like, went back to checking on how everyone was, as in school-wise and everything. Then we started discussing on time management, how we manage the time, and we were given tips on. Okay, we were given tips on how to manage our time properly, and one of the tips were to know your strengths and weaknesses, and to work on that effectively. So then we went on to discuss on emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, which we referred back to Dumi's story, right? Firstly, by being able to understand your feelings, you need to learn to understand your feelings and be able and be aware of what your feelings are and manage them properly, as well as be emotionally independent, which is a key factor in negotiation. Because when you understand how you're feeling, then you can reflect it in a more positive way than a negative way. Instead of shouting, now you can understand, no, now I need to come back to my senses and speak properly so that my message can be heard, as well as understanding other people's feelings and considering other people within, like, what's going on around you as well. Is, you consider what they feel, and you must also understand from their point of view why they would say such and what's making them think of such, as well as the environment. If you can get out of a situation, if you can manage the situation, you need to get out of it if there's literally nothing you can do about it. And then we spoke as well also on stumbling blocks, like your dream stumbling blocks. So yeah, we discussed on how sometimes it can be time, sometimes things like nationality can also be a stumbling block in your dreams, because, like, you're in a foreign country and stuff like that. And some of the things can also happen because of your parents not understanding where you're coming from when you're saying stuff. So yeah, those were the main things we discussed, as well as how Tumi applied the you factor, where she was the you thinking of herself and then also considering others by thinking, okay, my little sister, my little brother, I have siblings, my mom still has to pay for that. And also understanding that the situation she was in. She can't just decide, no, I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to do this for me or whatsoever. And it's all about me. No, she understood her surroundings and understood that there were more people to just her in the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tintswalo. Well said. Group 5, who's a representative for Group 5?
I think Group 4 and 5 were combined together.
Oh, okay. So is that all from the groups?
No, Group 5 is me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm from the Dandelions. Yeah, okay. So what I took from Miss Dumi's story was, most importantly, perseverance. She never gave up on her dream. She kept on, pushing and pushing, and she used her networks, she used her villages, and what she stated, something about social media, what you post, how it's going to affect you in like 10 years' time. It's very important for us to use our passion.
Melita, I think maybe turn your video off. I think we've lost you.
Building clarity, you have to be heard by the next person, and you also need to understand the person. If you didn't, you need to ask the person for extra information so that you don't argue that, and understanding others' points of view, finding alternatives to negotiate in case you come up with a conflict. Okay, the role plays, we're highlighting the third role play, which was about the argument because it had more negatives than the other ones. And we discussed that the problem that came up started with the wrong timing. If the daughter had approached the mother at a right time when she was relaxed and sitting down, not when she was cooking, maybe she could have gave much more attention to her and try to listen to her. So approaching the situation in the right way, the right timing, is basically something that is going to affect the outcome. So yeah, that's what we discussed.
Thank you, Melita. And from the group, the mentors, any feedback? Reflections on from Dumi's story to what we've discussed in the circles?
I think I'd just like to say something.
Okay.
So I think, girls, this evening, thank you for all those contributions and for the lessons learned. I think one of the key lessons that has always stood out for me about this session is coming in strong, that you never go into any negotiation feeling weaker than your adversary or the person that you're going to be negotiating with. Just remember that you deserve to be at any table, in any room, in any place, because you are worth so much. And what you are worth is what you bring to the table. So if you come in weak, you are going to feel weak and you're not going to feel or be able to negotiate well. All right, you have to come in from a position of strength. And the things that help you get that strength is to always find out or do your preparation for any negotiation if you can. If you have time, make sure that you get the facts. Think about the various outcomes that you could have. Think about the different scenarios that could play out and try and have an answer for every scenario. For example, I think it was the second role play, where there was an answer. Every time a mom asked a question, she had an answer for it. So always try and think through the situations before you actually go into them so that you are prepared. Preparation gives you strength. Preparation gives you confidence. It's always about strategy. I think about with Tumi, how she kept it a secret. She kept it a secret for a while before actually coming out with all her facts. But what she was doing in the meantime, she was gathering all the knowledge she needed to walk into a situation where she could then negotiate properly and bring forward what her case was. So there are different ways of doing it, but preparation is really key. and coming from an area of strength. And I say to you, every single one of you girls is an amazing human being. We've had dealings with you now since session 1. You are all strong, you are all powerful, and you are all capable of doing anything you set your mind to. Nothing is not possible for you. And don't you ever believe otherwise. Tumi has shown you, Gloria has shown you, and there are hundreds of examples out there of always just being strong and taking what you deserve. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Val. Thank you. From my side, I think I would like to really thank the girls for taking out the time within their busy schedule. It's been a tough year. We've all been through a lot. Lockdown was not easy. And for them to be able to bounce back, it's during the exam times now where they're supposed to be concentrating, but they managed to still squeeze in 3 hours of their time to make sure that they can learn from these sessions, because this is long-term. No one is going to take away this from them. They can apply this in their post-matric lives. They can apply this in their working environment. So I'd really like to thank you girls for taking the time, you know, to come and listen to us and to learn, because we're also learning from you guys. And, you know, the dedication that you're showing, it really makes us appreciate that everybody here is compromising or sacrificing something, and we really do appreciate. And all the best with your exam. And thank you for giving us time to come and deliver this to you, and all the best with the next 2 sessions into graduation. I just hope everybody that's here today can actually finish off all the sessions so that you can win the iPads and you can get the aircraft. So there's motivation as well at the last sessions. So thank you so much. And thank you to all the speakers who came and motivated you. You know, just reading the chats, I'm just so excited to see the emotion and the excitement that you guys are showing and the appreciation. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay, I wanted to leave everybody with this, that Ma'am Asnath said to us, in life, if you want something, it's either you get up and do it or get your village to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tintswalo. Ladies, mentors, anything else? Feedback, comment, reflections?
Okay, thanks Ntombi for such a beautiful session today, and thanks girls for participating and being present. It's really encouraging to see that you guys are actually still interested and you want to see this through and see how you can take it over in your career and in your life. So for me, in terms of session 4, I just wanted to summarize it as simple as this as well. What are my takeaways? Based on the 4 key concepts, I should know what my non-negotiables are. You know, if someone asks me for something and I know it's not in line with my values, it's okay to walk away. So the second concept is walking away, and it's okay, being like, okay, it's fine. And non-compromise is also fine. And then knowing what you're willing to give up. You know, if you're negotiating, you're saying that, fine, you can take my free weekend for me to get this, you know, just know what you're willing to put on the table, but it should be also in line with your values, because you also have to go back to your values. Then when you're very frustrated, like for the 3rd session where we had the 3rd role play, I mean, everyone seems frustrated, sometimes walking away is good, you know, walk away, focus, know the facts, and then come back and have a discussion again. And then just one thing, and this is just feedback from many other sessions that I've had with girls and women, is that we women have been raised to accept and not negotiate, especially when there's men in a room. When there's men in the room, we just say yes, 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 because we think they know better. It's about time we get to inform ourselves about the things that we're interested. The same way that Tumi was like, okay, I'll go and investigate and read magazines and visualize my dream. Let me know what is required. Let me know that I shouldn't just go to university. I actually have to go to fly school. So do the homework, read, understand, and challenge a person or have a discussion, right? But also know that do not just accept, but always negotiate. And then also negotiate from a from an abundance point of view. Don't negotiate from a point of a low point where you're like, okay, fine, because I don't have enough money, I might just have to go with this guy's friends, even if they're guys and I'm not comfortable, you know? Always find yourself in an abundance point of view. Always feel protected and loved. And if you don't feel like that, then it's okay. Go back home or go to your family or go to your friends until such a time you can be like, okay, since I know I have abundance around me, I have enough to put on the table. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Claire. Well said.
Can I just add to what ladies was saying?
Yes, please.
For one to feel the abundance that ladies is talking about, it's very important. And I know it's going to sound a bit weird, but it's the reality. A lot of us don't love ourselves without realizing that we don't actually love ourselves. You need to think about that very carefully. It starts with you. If you don't love yourself, you'll always find yourself in a compromising situation, accepting things that are unacceptable to you. So it starts with you. You must love yourself. That's the only time you'll find yourself in a place of abundance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, can I add on to what Ma'am Asnath was saying?
Yes, please, Tintswalo.
As a person, I've learned, well, I've always had like problems with people, you know, having, you know, such things like, no, having so much to say about my weight and stuff. Yeah, you know, I'm quite big, but I'm proud of that. So yes, so a lot of people had a lot to say about my weight. I had to sit down and evaluate my situation and actually think, if I don't love myself enough to know my worth, then who's going to do it for me? So yes, I'd like to say to the girls here that you must love yourself enough to know your worth, to know that no, I'm worth so much. So I must know where I stand. I must stand my ground. I mustn't just let down my guard just because everybody's saying this, that, and whatnot. No, I must stand my ground. Thank you.
Wow, nice one, Tintswalo. I like the
Could I please add?
Woo! Please,
Could I please add?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I learned also is that she was facing Alstumi was facing a difficult time financially, and she got the raffle tickets and all that, and they told her she had to return the money back, and she had a choice to either keep the money to herself and not tell the people anything and stop selling the tickets and pay for her fees, or send it back to the people like she did. She offered the people to tell them that, okay, the whole raffle ticket thingy has been cut out because I didn't register, what so on. And the people made it their decision to tell her, no, you can keep the money. Instead of her taking the money to keep it for herself without telling them that, oh no, guys, this is what happened. She took the right path. Instead of saying, I know, let me just take the money, pay for my fees, and then, you know, because I need the money, and then I'll deal with the people when the time comes. She took the step to tell people that no, the raffle tickets I haven't registered, I have to return your money. And they made it their choice to say, no, keep the money, we are giving it to you. So I learned that shortcuts never work. Do the right thing, make the right ways, turn back to your village. If you know yourself, you know what to do and how to do it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
goes
you.
back to values.
Values, yes, ethics and values.
Ethics and values.
Yes. Anyone else?
May I please say something?
Okay, yes, Rebecca.
So basically what I've learned today, in today's session actually, is that no matter what fears you face, and because it's basically related to Miss Dorine, because she was working very hard towards what she wanted, and she had a lot of setbacks, but she still did not give up. She literally had almost no funds for her piloting, and what I learned is that no matter how what setbacks that you face, and no matter what fears that you go through, no matter how hard it seems, you should keep pushing, because the time you give up have been the last time could have worked for you to succeed. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you, Rebecca. Anyone else?
Ma'am, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Although I didn't really hear much, but one thing I've learned is not giving up. I really learned how to not give up.
Try and change your position. You're breaking there.
Itumaleng has been having internet challenges.
Maybe type it in the
Type it out. Type it out, Itumeleng.
Story is that the first thing to accomplish life, another person, and accomplish all you do.
Itumeleng, I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Please try and type it up.
Sorry to me, but you please type your message out.
She's still with us.
Okay. I think we've lost her.
But one of the things that she highlighted from the beginning, it was never give up in whatever you wanna do. Just keep going.
Yes.
That's what I picked up.
Okay. All right. Thank you to everyone for the participation. But before we can wrap up, I would like to shine a spotlight. From the beginning of the session until now, I've highlighted 4 people that I would like to shine a spotlight on. First one is Tintswalo, and then it's Tintswalo. I'm shining a spotlight on you because of your enthusiasm, your courage, your, what do you call it? What's the word? English is running away now. Confidence, like the confidence in you, girl, the courage in you, you know, the art of communication as well. So I'm just happy. I'm highlighting this because it shows that you've learned for the past 3 sessions, you've been taking in whatever that you've been imparting with you. So shine on you, Tintswalo.
Thank you, ma'am.
I've got 4. My second one is Katlego. Katli has always been a shining star as well, and I'm choosing Katlego because you know what, we've had our own problems in our group. The others have got problems with connectivity and everything else. But shame, she's always willing to take one for the team, and she'll say, "Okay, I'll represent the team. I know they're struggling with their internet," just for being there for your village, for advocating for others, not only for yourself. We're shining the spotlight on you, Katlego, today. And then the next one is Zinhle Jiyane. Zinhle is one of the first to join today, the session, and even though she's relaxing and lying lazily there, but every time she speaks, you know, you can see that she can resonate. She's also learned a lot from these sessions. So we're shining a spot on you, Zinhle. It shows that you're listening and you guys are really taking in what we're trying to impart to you. And last but not least is Priska. Miss Priska has always been phenomenal. She's always been very, you know, participative. She came into a group. We've already chosen her to come back and do feedback, and then Val snatched her away. But she didn't say, no, I didn't belong to this group. She just came in, participated with Katlego, and, you know, we hit it on. So Priska, thank you so much for being a good sport and for the participation, and always been willing to, you know, to volunteer to do most of the report backs and other stuff. So we're shining the spotlight on you again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And I don't know, that's it from me. Val, would you like to say anything? And Asnath? Nothing from you.
No, I've got more ladies that I could shine the spotlight on, but anyway.
You can still shine the spotlight. There's no harm in shining more. Hey?
Go ahead, Asnath.
Please
Never
do
enough
shine the
spotlight.
For me, as Zinhle as well. You know, every time you open your mouth, I find you have this level of confidence, and my hope is that you'll be able to use it moving forward to achieve your dreams. You always come up with you always come up with a different perspective from what other people are seeing, and I like that. I like that a lot. So I would like to shine a spotlight on Zinhle as well. Yeah, so you've taken my people, Zanele, you've taken Tintswalo, so but all in all, thank you so much to the mentees, for just giving up your time for studies. We know that you needed to study, but this is as this pig was saying, that this is a lifetime thing that you're taking away from here, as long as you apply it. It's not about sitting in these sessions and not go out there and actually apply what we are trying to teach you here. You need to actually put it into practice for it to work. And this is, and I can tell you, if you just go back from lesson 2, well, lesson 1 was about, introducing each other, introducing us to one another. But if you go from lesson 2 until the last lesson, which is will be on Sunday, you'll realize that these are life skills that we're imparting to you. So take them and go and actually use them, put them into practice on a daily basis in everything that you do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lastly, guys, I would make a mistake if I don't say thank you to Lesego. Lesego is always behind the scenes, trying to help us motivate the girls to register. I mean, today the turnout was low yesterday, but I know she's always working hard to motivate, and she's been having problems with the network. But I'd just like to say thanks to her as well, shine a spotlight on her, because she's always really going an extra mile for us, trying to make sure that she motivates all the girls to join in and finish the sessions. Thank you so much to Lesego. Thank you so much, girls, for your time, and all the best with your exams. And you want to see the courageous leaders running for public service, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One more thing.
So I just want to say, just the girls who weren't mentioned doesn't mean that you aren't worth the spotlight, right? We're just running out of time. So I just want to the rest of you, showers of flowers, because honestly, you are all amazing for being here and for making the time. And then just before we go, please don't forget, I know the next session is Friday, but we do have homework. You always have homework. So we have another video to watch, which will be the last video. If you can't watch the video, we'll play it before the session so you can log on early. Please fill in the survey. We'll be sharing straight after the session. The survey is very important so that we get your feedback. And then lastly, your next session is on ethics and values. I want you, no, it's not. The next session is on running for office. I'm so sorry, I'm getting confused. Running for office. I want you to think about areas within your community or things that you see in your community that you would like to change. Anything that you think, not necessarily that you can change, but something that you think you would like to change, or something where you would like to do something about something that's happening in your area, whether it be the rubbish on the streets, whether it be helping kids who are living off the streets, whatever it may be, whatever you can think of, come with some ideas to the session about where you would like to service your community. Okay, so those are your 3 things for your homework, please. Thank you very much.
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Before we close out, I'd like to do this on behalf of Lesego because she always does, and I'm sure she'll be disappointed she didn't get a chance to do it. So I know Lesego would have said she'd like to thank all the mentors for taking time out to come and motivate us, talk to us, and be with us today. Thank you to Tumi for joining us and giving us a motivational story about her life. And yeah, thank you to all the girls that attended.
And I got one
thank you,
more.
Tintswalo.
Thank you, Tintswalo. You reminded me, I've got one more. So on Sunday for the graduation, if any of you girls would like to record a message for the mentors, or you would like to say a thanks, or anything that you would like to do, or maybe a presentation or a picture or a whatever it may be, at the graduation you will have an opportunity to say a few words. You can make a video, you can do whatever you want to do, as creative as you would like to be. Use your imagination, use your creativity, a message for one mentor, a message for all your mentors, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, please think about it, and that you can do for Sunday for the graduation. All right, that's it now. I'm keeping quiet.
Thank you. Bye.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Oh, someone else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I wanted to ask if you may please repeat the homework.
Oh,
homework.
Sure.
Yeah, I just accepted it. She was off again. Yeah.
Okay. So the homework is fill out the survey, the feedback form. Watch the video or log in early on Friday to watch the video. And lastly, think about somewhere in your area where you would like to service your community. Some idea or something that you're passionate or care a lot about, whether it be environment, whether it be people, something that you would like to do, whether it is fundamentally going to change or could change something around you or within your environment. It doesn't have to be big, think small. Are there kids around you that you could help? Are there kids that you could mentor? Whatever it is, think about it, be creative. And before we go, I would like to play some music, and I would also like us all to turn our videos on so we can do a little dancing.